Hi everyone, my name is Garima. Welcome to the channel. Today in this video, I'm going to present a simple and easy to implement tutorial on how to build AI agents. AI agents are the new wave in 2025 and they're definitely here to stay. And this tutorial will help you create your own agents even if you do not know a single line of code. Even if you have never done coding before, you can still make your own AI agents. By the way, if you want to learn what are AI agents, you should go and check this video that I made earlier. You'll find it on the I button or on the description somewhere. I'll put the link. Okay, so the tool that I'm going to use is N8N, as you can see on the screen. Again, it is no code and it has a 14-day trial. You can use your email to sign in, and once you sign in, this is the screen that you see. Right, so the first step is to create a workflow. So we click on this button, create workflow. So this is where you add the first step. The first step is basically the trigger. It's the most important step because it's going to initiate the workflow. By the way, you can use it in dark mode. I like the light mode. That's why I've used this one. But you can choose to work on the mode that you like. So let's make a trigger for the workflow. So when I click on this plus button, there are multiple options that I get. I can either trigger manually or I can schedule something. Let's say I am going to trigger this when I receive a Telegram message. And over here, I'm going to select on message. Now, don't get overwhelmed with this screen. It's pretty simple to understand. On the left hand side, you have the inputs. Then on the right hand side, you have the output. And in the middle is how you set it up, how you set up this block. Once you get the hang of it, it will be super easy. So don't worry. First thing that we need to do is connect a Telegram account. If you don't have a Telegram account, all you need to do is just sign up using your mobile number. It should be a verifiable one. And let's try to connect over here. So I connected a few Telegram accounts earlier, but for the purposes of the demo, I'm going to show a new one. So this is how you do it. You basically click on create new credential. And here is where you have to write the access token. So in order to get the access token, we go to the annotate documents. As you can see on the URL, if it's readable, it's basically the documentation from annotate. Under integrations, you go to built-in nodes, and under that, you go to credentials. And over here, you'll find Telegram credentials. It basically has loads of applications that you can interact with and connect using API. This time we are using Telegram. So let's just scroll down. And so here, as per the documentation, we start a chat with Botfather. So let's click on Botfather. I don't have the Telegram app, so I'm using it on web. You can do both. Either you can download the app or you can use it on web. I'm going to click on this button, open in web. And okay, so we have Botfather initialized over here. Now, I'm going to start it. On the top right, you would see that button. And I can use a bunch of options that they've given here. So when I type slash, you can see that I get a lot of options. I'm going to select new bot. And firstly, we have to choose a name for the bot. I'm going to name it as Gmail AI agent, and you'll understand why I name it like that. Okay, so now I've given the name, and the next step is to choose a username. So I'm going to call it my name underscore Gmail agent underscore bot. The bot has got created. For the time being, all we need is the API key. So I'm going to copy paste this and I'll go back to Entertain and I'll provide the access token. And you have to click on save and just check if the credential successfully created and the connection is made successfully or not. In this case, connection is made successfully. So we'll close this and now the Telegram trigger is created. Now we're back to the canvas. I just saved this and I suggest the same to you guys as well. Anytime you make some changes, make sure to save because you don't want to lose your stuff. Now that I've saved it, let's test this step. Let's just go back to Botfather and start the bot. So what I'll do, I'll click on the first link that provided. This is the Gmail AI agent. I'm going to start it. Okay, so now I can start my conversations over here. Let's go back to the canvas and I am going to start testing this. So I'll click on test workflow, and as you can see, it's waiting for a trigger event. So I go back to the Gmail AI agent and I say test one. Okay, and let's just see if it got successfully received or not. So over here, you see that test one was received in the output, which means that this step has successfully ran. Once we receive the trigger, the next step is to do something about it. So we go back to the canvas. I click on this plus sign and I'm going to look for editing these fields. So I click on edit fields. Now you can see there's a screen for me to set up this block. But before I do that, I'm actually going to go back to the canvas and I'll just save this. Hopefully it should get saved. Okay. And now I'm going to test this workflow. And the reason why you should always test your step is because you get the actual data to work on. You can always copy paste these settings that I have made and you can try it on your own, but it's a bad approach. The best approach to learn and to be able to try it on different use cases is to test it on data and then use that data to set up the next step. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to Telegram and we'll say test 2 because we just want to make sure that these are different messages that we are sending. And now you see that as an input, we have got test 2 over here. The next step is to click on this add field button. I'm just going to give it a simple name. Let's say text. And the value will come from this text parameter. Test 2 was the input that we had given from the Telegram message. And this test 2 will become the value of the field that you are creating. So that's the reason using the test data keeps a little simpler. Okay, so now let's just save this. There's some issue. Let's just check what. We just delete the data. Uh, let's test this. So test workflow, and I go back to Telegram, and this time I'm going to say test 3. Okay. And it got successfully ran, which means that there's no issue. We can see the output is test 3. So cool. Up till this point, it's working fine. Now I'm going to connect it with an AI agent. So if you've seen the video that I talked about earlier, an AI agent cannot really do anything on its own unless it has an LLM to guide it on what to do. So the next step is to connect it with an AI agent. Let me click on this plus sign and I'll say AI agent and I add this. So if you've seen the video that I talked about earlier, an AI agent has 3 parts. One is a chat model. It's basically an LLM model that the AI agent sits on top of. Then we have memory. Memory is basically used for remembering the past interactions. And tools are the biggest asset of an AI agent. It basically helps that agent perform all the tasks that we have given. So to start with, I'm going to select the LLM model. Now you have a list of models to select with. You can use Azure OpenAI chat model, or you can use Google Gemini or anything else. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to use Anthropic chat. At the time of recording this video, 3.7 Sonnet is the latest version and it's pretty powerful. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to now connect it with an account of Anthropic. So I'm going to click on create new credential, and over here as well, we need an API key. Okay, so in order to get the API key, we go to console.anthropic.com. You click on settings and you go to API keys over here. There are existing API keys that I have. Now I click on create key. I'll just let the default workspace stay and I'll give this name to my key and it in Gmail agent. Okay, so all I do is I copy this and I come back to Entertain and I paste the key over here. Let's just test the connection. Okay, cool. The connection was successfully tested. So that's good. Just some general information. If you don't have Claude, it's pretty simple to create a user using your email. Remember that you don't get an API access using the free version. So you have to pay at least $5. You need to buy credits to be able to use API keys for Claude. It's not free, there's no trial version. But you can start with as small as $5, especially if you're only trying to learn stuff. Then you can also put limits on it that the bill should not go, let's say, more than $100 just to avoid any unexpected bills. Okay, so let's go back to Canvas. So we have Anthropic connected. Now let's just add an output. So in this case, I'm going to keep the output same as my input, which is Telegram. And this time I'm going to say send a text message. This one. So make sure that it's the same account that you had used to trigger the workflow. I think I'm just going to let this stay as is and let's just work on a little bit on the chat model. Actually, it's throwing an error. Let's quickly. Okay, so for now, basically what I'd want to do is I want to test my workflow, and based on the data that would appear, I'll put something in the chat ID and the text. So for now, I'll just keep it as text. Sorry, test. And I'll go back. I'll save this. Okay, so this looks okay. So like I said, I need some data to work on. I click on test workflow because we have to make sure that the session is captured. So let's go back to the Gmail AI agent and say, what is 21 multiplied by 3.5? Okay, so let's see. There's an error. Nice, but at least it's telling me that the input was received. Now I will use the data that I've got for updating the parameters of the AI agent. So for source for prompt, we're going to select define below because I want to define it myself. And the prompt will be the input that the user is giving. So basically, the user's question becomes the part of the prompt. Now let's test this. So let's click on test workflow and I'll go to Telegram and I'll ask, what is 21 multiplied by 4? Let's go back and see. Okay, so I got an output. So as you can see, this step, until this step, it got completed successfully, which means that um, the Anthropic model, Claude, is basically giving the right response. Now, there's an error in the parameters of the Telegram message. That's because we did not wire it properly. So we'll come to that in a moment. Let's just add some specific instructions to this AI agent so that the response looks in a format that we like. So what I'm going to do is I will add an option and I'll say system message and I'm going to say you should always start with thanks for the message. And I am going to be back in the canvas. I'm going to delete the old data, save this, and test my workflow, send a message. What is 21 multiplied by 5? Let's see again the output. And you can say, okay, so the message, thanks for the message, is coming, which means that the instruction that I gave to the AI agent, that's being honored properly. And it's also giving the right response, which says that product of 21 and 5 is 105. So it's giving the right message. Now let's fix the error on the Telegram so that we receive the right message back. Okay. So there are two parameters that are wrong. Okay. So in order to fix that error, again, we need the data. So let's go back and let's ask, what comes after January? Cool, it has given an error and now this gives us an opportunity to get the data and now we can enter the chat ID and the text. So chat ID would be this one and the output will be this output. Because this is the output that's coming from the AI agent and that's what we have to give it back to the response for the Telegram message. Right. So let's test this. Let's delete the old data and save this and now test it. And let's ask the question, what comes after February. I hope I've spelled it correctly. Cool, 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 cool. So you see multiple things here, right? We get thanks for the message response. That was the instruction that I added to the AI agent. Then we also get a response to say after February comes March, and it is also giving some details around, it's third month of Gregorian calendar and it has 31 days. This information is coming from Claude, so this is good. But the good thing is that initiate a message and we also got a response back. So now let's go back, and this is the setup we have created so far, but this is not done yet, right? We need to be able to use it in our real lives, in the use cases that we have in our business. Let's add a tool over here and let's select Gmail. So basically, what I want is that this tool or this workflow that I've created, it should be able to summarize emails for me. Now I'm going to connect my Gmail account. I've also connected the ones previously, but I'm not going to use them. For the purposes of the demo, I'm going to show you how Gmail account will be connected with anything. So again, create new credential. And this time I'm not using an API key. I'm actually signing in with Google. So this is my email and I'm going to just give access. Okay, this connection is successful. And now I'm going to use the operation as get many. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want this AI agent to go through my emails and give me a summary of those emails. I'm going to let the stay limit as is. Anyway, I don't have a lot of emails because I'm only using this for the purposes of this demo. And let's just add some filter. So I'm going to select label names or IDs. And over here, I'm going to select the category as inbox. Uh, so this filter got added. Let's just save this. Now, before we move ahead, let me just add more instructions to the AI agent. So I'm going to say a few more things. By the way, you can use any set of instructions that you like. I'm just saying that please analyze my email inbox and do a bunch of things. Let's just go back, save this and test it. Okay, before I go to Telegram, I'm just going to show you this is my inbox. It has, I think, a total of 6 emails. 4 are unread and 2 are read. I've given the access of my inbox, which includes both unread and read emails. So I will go to the Telegram account again and I'm going to say, please summarize my inbox. Let's see the response that we get. Wow, amazing. So based on the Gmail's inbox, here's your summary. And see, I've got the summary of my inbox over here. So imagine that you have hundreds of emails and you've come back from a holiday. You don't want to go through all your emails. You basically tell the tool, hey, just summarize it for me. And, it gives you the details. Now, let's go back here. So far, I have been doing all of this in testing mode, which means I was keeping it inactive and I used to say, okay, this is the test session. I used to click on test workflow and trigger something. But if you want to do this in real life, what you do basically, you click this inactive button and you make it active. There's a message that you should read, and I say, got it. And now I'm going to ask another question. I'll say, tell me about the latest email I have received. Wow, it's telling me about the latest email I got. This was from Google. It was a security alert email. And see, you can see that this is the email that I last received. So you see now it's running automatically. Anytime I send a message on Telegram, it would be able to give me answers. And you can do a lot more stuff on this. You can incorporate this in your personal life, in your professional life, and you can also create businesses, right? You can solve other people's problems with the help of these agents. So if this video helped you, please subscribe. and put a comment on how you're using Entertain or AI agents in your daily life to make things easier for you. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care and bye bye.